It is NBA time. We're back with episode 6 of the podcast. Started off with out west with the Rockets. They've won 13 in a row. They haven't lost with CP3 back. They're looking great. A bit of a question was how CP3 and Harden would share the ball at the beginning of the year, but it hasn't really been a problem at all. Of course, they haven't lost with him back. They've been awesome. Another big part of their run has been Clint Capella. He's taken another step forward. He's a great shot blocker, rebounder, improving his offensive game a little bit in the pick and roll. But, they should really push the Warriors, I think, this year. They've got a game-and-a-half lead right now. And they should make it interesting, I think, out in the West. More interesting than that we've definitely seen in the last few years. Definitely a team to watch. Harden, and of course, can't forget Harden. He's playing like an MVP again, leading the league in scoring, over 31 a game, averaging over 9 assists a game. And with him and Paul, I think that's really the best backcourt in the NBA. Of course, it's always, the last few years, it's been all about the Warriors, Steph and Clay. But my opinion, I think this backcourt is a little better what they can do, creating for themselves and others. They both can also really shoot it. Harden looked like an MVP. I think there's only one guy you can give the MVP to this year, and that's LeBron. I think they got to give it to him this year. I think he's potentially could have won it just about every year for the last 10-ish years. But that's not how it works. The voters like to switch it up a little bit here and there. LeBron's got the 4 that he won in that span of 5 years. I think it's time to give him his 5th. It's almost like once you win a bunch, you really need to above and beyond better than you've been in your previous years to win another one. But he's got 4. I think this should be the year he should get his 5th. He's playing out of his mind. 28 points, 9 assists, almost 9 rebounds, a steal and a block. He's been, the gripe people have had with him is, one of the gripes people have had with him in his career is his shooting. He's shooting 57% from the field. He's up to 40% from 3. 77 at the line. So he's been really great in, of course, all facets of the game. And the Cavs have really cemented themselves back on top of the East after they had that rough start really early on, although that seems like ages ago, as they've really won 18 of their last 19 games. Lost to the Pacers a couple weeks ago, who have been a really good surprise, I think, in the East with their new up-tempo offense. They've been great. Of course, Oladipo. I think the game you got to mark down is January 3rd is Cleveland-Boston. It's one thing to really get more wins than a LeBron-led team in the regular season. Another thing to beat them head-to-head, and really even a whole different challenge to beat a LeBron-led team in the playoffs. And I think only really time will tell whether the Celtics are legit contenders. I think we really won't even know that until they get to the Eastern Conference Finals and face Cleveland, what they can do. That's really the only way we're going to find out if this team's for real. But we'll get a preview of that January 3rd. That's definitely a game to watch. Cleveland's going to get, of course, Isaiah Thomas back soon. He's coming back early January. Hopefully I'll be back for that Celtics game, but we'll see. Staying in the East, Celtics and Cavs are really, of course, 1 and 2. Toronto established themselves number 3, really just because no one else has really stepped up. But this is kind of what we expected from the middle of the East. I think the one disappointment has been Washington, who's sitting in the 8th spot right now. Kind of thought their bench was going to be better, and push them to new heights in DC, and they would improve. But they've been inconsistent. They really have to get going. So Detroit now sitting at number 4 after they lost 7 in a row. They've now won 3 in a row. So they all the way up to 4. But really from that 4th spot to 13, there's a 6.5 game difference. It's a really wide open conference right now. Look at 12 and 13. 11, 12 and 13 is Brooklyn, Orlando, Charlotte. It look like they'll probably end up on the out looking in come playoff time. But from 4 to 10, it's really 7 teams for 5 spots. Detroit, Indiana, New York Knicks, Milwaukee, Washington, Miami, and Philly. Really all of a shot at the playoffs this year, and you kind of hope that one team does emerge, can get that fourth spot, and then so you can get that a good second round matchup with either Boston or Cleveland, whoever finishes first. Right now, it looks like it's going to be a fun playoff race down the stretch in the East, even if it's really a 2-horse race with Boston and Cleveland, depending on how big you are a believer in Toronto. They've won 9 of their last 10. It's kind of the same team we've already seen the last few years. Haven't made a heck of a lot of noise in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Kind of a LA Clippers East, so to speak. So, the must-see moment of the week, I think that's coming tonight. Kobe Bryant's retirement, 8-24. Kobe's greatness really speaks for itself, but he'll get his jersey, both his jerseys, 8-24 retired. Halftime of the Warrior game tonight. Should be a lot of fun. The game's at 10:30 on NBA TV. Definitely check that out. Stat of the week. Looking at assist-to-turnover ratio. First in the league is Spencer Dinwiddie of the Brooklyn Nets. We talked about him a little bit in episode 2. Dinsanity, if you want to call it. But a guy who's really broken out with the Nets, bounced around the league, and he's found a home here, playing on a minimum salary contract. He's had a great year. 4.7 assist-turnover ratio. First in the NBA of players with a minimum 100 assists. And, a pretty big gap between second. It's Darren Collison and Chris Paul are tied for second at 3.9, so 0.8 difference there. Thought that was notable to point out. And we'll move to the games to watch. We figured we'd go with the Christmas games this year. First up at noon is Philly and New York. Should be a good game. Two of those Eastern Conference teams who are sitting right there, really at the edge of the playoffs somewhere. We'll see where they slot in the rest of the year. And then, of course, got Cleveland, Golden State. Finals rematch of, the last 10 years or something. That should be a good one. That's at 5:30 is Washington, Boston. Of course, not what we expected from Washington this year. But a good chance to prove themselves on Christmas versus this very good Celtic team. Houston, Oklahoma City, which is another playoff rematch from last year. 3 in a row rematches with Cleveland, Golden State, Washington, Boston. Of course, Oklahoma City's really struggled this year, but they still have the star power. Russell Westbrook's always interesting. And Houston's been great to watch. That game's at 8 o'clock. And then the night game, 10:30, Minnesota and the Lakers. The Lakers always in that 10:30 spot. Minnesota's been playing well. Not too much to say about the Lakers. We got our game picks on the bottom of the screen, updated standings in the description. And that will do it. This will do it for NBA Time Episode 6. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, share. And remember, there's always another seat at the round table, so leave a comment. You can tweet at us at RoundTable Time. Thank you.